Hi, my name is Lyric, and today we're going to be reacting to JxmyHighRoller's NBA fans aren't ready to hear the truth. What truth is this? We don't know. JxmyHighRoller always has these ambiguous titles that leave you intrigued, but he's one of the greatest NBA YouTubers, brings up great stats. I agree with him most of the time. Definitely don't agree with him on everything, but agree with him on a lot of his takes. So let's see what he has to do today. What he has to say to us today. For anyone who doesn't believe Larry Bird would be an all-time great in today's NBA, explain this. Okay, weird racial correlation. Overall, when people say Bird's unathletic, he wouldn't make today's NBA because he's unathletic. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because one, he was decently athletic before he got injured, and unathletic players in today's NBA relatively compared to Bird, they're really good. Westbrook. I mean, they did start 0-5 with him, so talking like Jordan wasn't an actor, and also he even played dead in this one. He probably got smashed to the floor by the Pistons, man. Look at this, the Pistons game. No, Anthony Davis is not even remotely in the same stratosphere as Tim Duncan. Not even close. No, not even close. He's like not even a top 5 power forward. Maybe top 10 power forward. No one, absolutely nobody. Magic fans. Okay. Yo, LeBron said he didn't like Orlando because of the bubble stuff. He said if Bryant gets drafted by the Magic, LeBron's gonna retire, bro. Cause he said he's never going back to Orlando. Nikola Jokic is just a 7-foot Draymond Green. That doesn't even make sense. Draymond Green's known for his defense. Okay, whatever. Don't understand that one. MJ would have been... One second. MJ would have been a high-usage Lance Stevenson versus modern-era zone defenses. So he would have been worse in an era where there's no defense, where there's a defensive 3-second rules that would make him centers get out of the paint, and where he would mostly dominate by going to the paint. Okay. I'll take your word on it, buddy. I'll take your word on it, buddy. I don't know about that one, Chief. Whoever voted for Ben Simmons for the 2021 MVP should be shot. Hey, Ben Simmons in his prime was a good player, man. I just no idea what happened to that guy, bro. No idea what happened to that guy. I just don't think he likes basketball. It's like fair, but like, bro.
The necessary evil of the sport.
Oh, this is another just general hot takes video. 40 points is the new 30 points. 60 points is the new 40 points. I don't think it's that extreme yet, because there wasn't. I don't think. Well, I don't like even in the early 2000s. You would see more than a few 40-point games a year. I think, right? Because even so, there's still only been like, I think there's been four or five 60-point games this year, which is an insane amount. But I think there was more than 4 or 5 40-point games in the early 2000s. So I think maybe that's extreme. But I think maybe it's like 30 is the new 25. Like a guy averaging 25 points a game in the 90s would be the equivalent of someone averaging 30 today.
The bad ones.
Steph Curry would have been in the GOAT debate if LeBron didn't beat him 3-1. So if he wins back, I think that team, it would have been, he would have been a lot higher, because imagine if we won unanimous MVP, led the team to a 73-9 record, and won the championship over LeBron. That would have been insane. I think he would have been considered better than LeBron at that moment. Maybe not all time yet, but at that moment. But if he doesn't blow a 3-1 lead, then Kevin Durant has said before, if they were winning the championship, he wasn't going to go to them if they had just won the championship. So they probably at most win 1 championship over the next 2 years. So he has the same amount of championships. I think he might have been ranked higher because people wouldn't have that narrative of, oh, he had KD, but like he would not have been in the GOAT debate. And unless he won like the same amount of championships and the 2016 one. If he won 4 straight, then maybe.
Downright atrocious.
I'm taking prime Harden over prime Giannis. No. In 2019, I think Harden should have won MVP over Giannis. But Giannis has gotten like better since then, my guy.
ones. We once again find
And also, I'm talking about the regular season award, not the
ourselves
playoffs.
racking our brains, trying to figure out how some people come up with this nonsense. But today, I've done the brain racking for you and found some of the hottest NBA takes on the internet. So, buckle up. This may be a bumpy ride. Today's video is brought to you by SeatGeek. With the NBA season quickly coming to
Shout out to JxmyHighRoller for the sponsor, but they ain't giving me money, so I ain't showing the ad.
today. It's been a couple months since our last edition of NBA Hot Takes, so
Shaq said he knew the Lakers season was over last year when Stevie Wonder shouted brick at LeBron James. I remember I sat courtside. Stevie Wonder was there. He talked brick at, at a LeBron James 3. How the fuck do you know? Stevie Wonder ain't blind. Conspiracy.
despite
And we're back. Sorry for the interruption.
my head still reeling from our last
Michael Jordan would have switched hands.
batch, we've got some new scorchers to
25 years from now, kids will be using this to say LeBron played against construction workers. Oh, damn right. And you know the Clippers stinking up in the playoffs. This is what 100% going to be used as a gigantic meme for those
take a
bricks.
look at. You'd think
100%.
I'd know better than to
Not even close. You guys would cook them. So we got, okay, who'd win this? Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Shaq. Versus Steph Curry, LeBron, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, and Giannis. Alright. So we got Jordan as the best player versus their best player. Is that Lakers LeBron, or are we going prime LeBron? If we're going prime LeBron, then I have Jordan over him, but that's a somewhat even matchup. I'd say their second best player would be Kobe. And he's going against... And their second best player would be like... Okay, no, I gotta look at a position standpoint. Okay. So... Bottom team would be starting Magic at point, Jordan at the 2, no, Kobe at the 2 probably, Jordan at the 3, Larry at the 4, Shaq at the 5. The top team is pretty small ball. They have Steph Curry at point guard. Well, actually, no, they do have LeBron probably at like shooting guard or some shit, so that's pretty big. No, actually, oh, I forgot about Joel Embiid. Yeah, no, they're actually a really big team. I had that backwards. So Steph Curry at point guard, probably like. No, you can probably actually at this line, you can probably put LeBron at point guard, Steph Curry at shooting guard, KD small forward, Giannis power forward, Joel Embiid at center. So you have Steph Curry, Magic Johnson. That's an even matchup. Jordan. I feel like I'd go the bottom team, definitely. I feel like they're way too oversized. Also, got Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Larry Bird, so they're going to be clutch as fuck. You know? And Joel Embiid is not stopping Shaq. Granted, Joel Embiid could do some damage against Shaq because he's got that perimeter shot, but he's not... Yeah, Shaq is Shaq, bro. Granted, Giannis, Larry Bird ain't coming anywhere close to stopping Giannis. But, at the guard matchup, I think Kobe's cooking. Well, I mean, Kobe did have a really good time guarding, like, KD. I think I'm still going the bottom team, though. I feel like there's no way you're going to beat a team with Jordan, Kobe, and Bird on it. With those three of the clutchest players in NBA history. I mean, Joel Embiid hasn't won anything yet, so he hasn't really shown that he has... You know, that if he would be able to step up in this, so.
peer into the cold, soulless
Paul Pierce wants to know who's beating this 5. A lot of teams. Hey, Paul, hey, you know. It's a good starting 5,
abyss
though,
of
man.
casual NBA fandom by now.
Dylan Brooks got to retire. Dylan Brooks is trash, bro.
But
He is trash. They call him John 3 for 16,
I'm
bro.
sick. I can't help myself, and I've got nothing
LeBron.
better to do. So here we are. Now this first one, some people are not going to be happy with. This NBA fan says, in terms of excitement, Steph is this generation's Jordan. And I agree. Steph may not be this generation's best player, but when it comes to drawing eyes and attention and putting on an absolute show, there's no one that does it like Stephen Curry. The deep threes, the antics, the fact that he's still on the same team that drafted him, it all adds to the Steph experience that fans across the globe love about watching him play. This man has kids on the other side of the planet rocking his jersey trying to knock down look-away threes. This relatively small, unassuming athlete who wasn't a superstar recruit, rising through the NBA ranks and winning titles amongst giants, how can you not love the guy? Is there anything as thrilling as watching Steph come down the court? Defense absolutely scrambling, trying, hoping they can stall the inevitable. But it's too late. Steph is pulling up from 30 feet, and the outcome is already set in stone.
Curry, long distance. Bang!
Bang!
There's just nothing like it. The fans love Steph. He's the people's champ. And I agree that in terms of excitement, he is this generation's Jordan. Now, with Nikola Jokic making a run for his 3rd straight league MVP, the man is on track to making NBA history. But with all that success has come more scrutiny for his shortcomings. Some of these critiques are absolutely ridiculous, and some might be warranted. A couple days ago, Stephen A. Smith said that Jokic potentially winning back-to-back-to-back league MVPs, despite his lack of playoff success, is almost criminal, questioning the validity of his awards.
It's a regular season award.
Fans of the NBA, this guy feels that this criticism of Jokic is
2021. Yeah, Jokic has never had a chance to really make the finals. I mean, yeah, 2020 he did great. Came back 3-1 against the Clippers. He wasn't gonna beat the LeBron Lakers team. 2021 and 2022, in 2021 he was missing his 2nd best player. In 2022 he was missing his 2nd and 3rd best player and lost to the champions. So like, I do think he lost pretty bad in 2021. I think that should be held against him. But like 2022, how are you gonna hold him against him, bro? He lost to the champs. Like, no one beat the Warriors, man. You expect him to beat the Warriors? No one else did. 2023, though, he has to make some playoff noise. If he does not make it at least the conference finals, there's, I think, heavy scrutiny is gonna have to take place. And even then, I feel like even if he doesn't make the finals, people are still gonna get him.
Isn't fair because he's always made the most of what he's been given in the playoffs year after year. And I understand this line of thinking. I mean, the MVP is a regular season award.
Sorry to get interrupted. My internet's trash.
I mean, the MVP is a regular season award after all, so the playoffs really shouldn't be brought up in this discussion. But it is. And it always has been. Since the beginning of time, NBA fans have used the playoffs as a bit of a litmus test to try to validate or invalidate regular season MVPs. It's practically a rite of passage for any all-time great player.
I mean, no. They should validate it after they've already won the MVP to be like, okay, this season wasn't as good because it didn't amount to anything. But you're talking about just regular season. No, they should have won the regular season MVP. They're the best player in the regular season.
Must we not forget, Giannis was getting eviscerated for coming up short in the postseason after winning back-to-back MVPs. Or when people called LeBron a choke artist for winning 2 MVPs.
But he still deserved his 2 MVPs.
But failing to.
And LeBron still deserved his 2 MVPs. He just wasn't an all-time great champion, both Giannis and LeBron, until they won a championship.
Possibly multiple MVPs because the Lakers just weren't a real contender at the time.
Well, to be fair, he was like. I think the reason why Jokic won MVP in 2022 as the 6th seed was because there was no player on the 1 seed that was a really championship contender, MVP contender. The first seed in the West was the Suns. Devin Booker wasn't winning it. And first seed in the East was the Heat. Jimmy Butler wasn't winning it. So he just went to at that point he goes to the player with the best stats who was leading his team, and Jokic having his 2nd and 3rd player out. I think if you said Giannis should have won MVP in 2022, I'm not going to argue you because I think he had a really good chase, and I think you could have a really good argument for Giannis this year as well. So Jokic or Giannis this year, but Kobe didn't win it because there was strong contenders on the top seeds. I don't think it should have been Steve Nash, though. I think it should have been Dirk or LeBron in 2006. But, yeah, you're not going to win MVP at the 7th seed if there's guys on the first top 3 seeds that are really big MVP contenders.
You can give me all the excuses in the world, and it won't really make a difference, because no other all-time great player was granted any excuses either. If a player wants to ascend to all-time great status, he will be held to an all-time great standard. The man is on track to winning his 3rd straight MVP, and he hasn't even made the NBA Finals. This is unprecedented. Now, is this criticism unjust? Maybe, but why should Jokic be spared from intense criticism when no other great player was? We've seen voter fatigue and narratives and postseason failures.
I think we should stop doing that. I don't see why it's a bad thing to like stop voter fatigue and stuff. Like that's literally a good thing.
Countless players from winning the regular season MVP. Why is Jokic exempt from this same standard? Once a player receives a certain level of praise, no excuse will be sufficient in explaining why they haven't won a ring.
Granted, I think Giannis should win MVP this year, but
Or
you know,
even come close for that match.
maybe Jokic. I don't know.
This
It's
is
close.
how it's always been. And
No, I don't think it's been that way though for the regular season. Other than James Harden in 2019, I think that's the only exception. It's James Harden 2019.
I completely disagree with this take. Now,
Like, what other player was robbed of MVP because they didn't make the playoffs beforehand? They weren't good in the playoffs beforehand. Like Kobe Bryant didn't win MVPs because he was the lower seeds, because lower the seed. It wasn't because he was choking in the playoffs as a high seed. Like I don't agree with that at all.
just a couple days ago, Damian Lillard put on an absolute clinic when he scored 71 points against the Rockets. 71 points. The man
Insane.
hit 13 threes and was a perfect 14 for 14 from the line. He did it all. I mean, this was a masterpiece from Dame. But leave it up to NBA fans to find the faults in this performance because according to some fans, Dame's 71 points weren't all that impressive since he did it against one of the worst defensive teams in the league. You heard that correctly. Scoring 71 points in an NBA game is no longer impressive if you do it against a bad defensive team. And
What do you picked him to put 71 against the best defensive team in the NBA? It doesn't make any
this take is
sense.
so unhinged that I almost don't want to even address it. But I'm going to anyways. Now, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret, but you can't tell anyone I told you this. Most big games throughout NBA history are
But
against
against
bad
bad teams.
defensive teams. Surprise! Pretty crazy, right? Wilt's 100-point game in 1962 was against the Knicks, who were the 2nd worst defensive team in the league at the time. Kobe Bryant's 81 in 2006 was against the Raptors, who were also the 2nd worst defensive team in the league. And David Thompson's 73 in 1978 was against the Pistons, who were the 9th worst defensive team in the league at the time. In fact,
9th worst
this is
isn't
the
that
case
bad.
with nearly every all-time big scoring night throughout NBA history. LeBron's career high was against the Bobcats, who were the worst defensive team in the league. Shaq's career high
759.
was against the Clippers, who were also the worst defensive team in the league. Steph's career high was against the 3rd worst defensive team in the league, and Michael Jordan's career high was against the 9th worst defensive team.
9th worst
in the
isn't
league
that
at the
bad, to be
time.
fair.
Even Donovan
As I
Mitchell's
said
71
before.
earlier this season was against the 5th worst defense in the entire NBA. It's like some fans have to search for a reason to discredit some players. Dame could have scored 71 on the worst defensive team ever, and it still would have been an incredible accomplishment. You could put me in front of your local
Right.
youth league championship team, and I couldn't score 71 points in 39 minutes. Every season, every single
Yeah.
player gets a shot to go crazy. on
Multiple
bad
70-point
defensive
games in
teams.
one season's
There
crazy.
has been thousands of opportunities for players to use these bad teams as their punching bag, and yet only 3 players have ever topped this 71-point explosion from Dame. This performance was historic, and this take is horrendous. Now, this fan here says Michael Jordan is sensitive, but he gets a pass because he's good at basketball. And I agree with half of this take. Michael Jordan was sensitive. People will excuse his behavior as competitive, but everyone in the NBA is competitive. Jordan couldn't take criticism whatsoever. In fact, his famous quote is literally a statement of how things people did and said about him really got to him. But he didn't get
He
a
used
pass
that to his
just
advantage,
because he was
so.
good at basketball. He gets a pass because every time someone pissed him off, he always
retaliated.
went out and proved them wrong. They said
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler was his equal. He didn't like that, and so he went out and stomped the man in the NBA Finals. They said
Right.
he wasn't as good when he came back from his first retirement, so he added that to his list of reasons to be an absolute menace and three-peated for the second time. You can be as sensitive as you want if you back it up. I think most NBA
That's
fans
true.
would consider Kevin Durant sensitive, but if he followed up his tweets with more championships and absolute dominance over the NBA for the rest of his career, those tweets would be an afterthought. Now, our last
True.
take is a scorcher, and not even for a split
Uh-oh.
second does it add up in any way, shape, or form. This NBA fan says, back then, we used to celebrate three-peats. Now kids are out here celebrating 4 titles in 10 tries and call it greatness.
Context. Context.
This is so f***ing stupid. Now clearly, this is referring to LeBron James. To which I genuinely ask this fan, and fans who think like this, do you really think LeBron's career hasn't been great? I mean, really? Is it possible that we can celebrate any ring that any player wins at any time? Or has the bar been established so high that if you aren't three-peating, it isn't truly greatness? All right,
Right.
everyone. New rule. No celebrating rings or titles or MVPs or big or small successes
Championships are impressive no matter what they are,
anymore.
man.
We are only celebrating three-peats. Dirk's ring wasn't
That's
great.
insane.
The bum only won 1 in 21 years. Boston's ring in 08, worthless. Raptors in 2019, bums. Bucks in 2021, Giannis and the gang, bums. We don't celebrate that. Get that out of here.
Bums.
I just can't believe some fans actually think like this. I mean, according to this logic, no one in the entire NBA right now should be celebrated. We need to drop this whole rings or bust discourse altogether. It's just silly, and it's a bad faith argument to discredit really awesome players. In fact, this same fan
Right.
goes on to share posts celebrating the greatness of players like Damian Lillard and John Stockton, who've never won a ring. And most ironic of all,
Right.
this fan goes on to say that the '89 Cleveland Cavaliers were the greatest team in franchise history. Literally describing a team that was bounced out of the first round of the playoffs as the greatest. So not only is this line of thinking flat out wrong, it's disingenuous.
It just doesn't make
A player doesn't
sense.
need to pull off the greatest feat
This is talking to y'all in the comments, by the way. Y'all
in
think
the
like this a lot of
history
times.
the game to be great. Greatness comes
Right.
in many different shapes and forms. And apparently, so do takes on the NBA. And unfortunately, that's all the racking my brain can handle in one sitting. But y'all know the drill. Leave a comment with
Alright, so that's all the hot takes for today. Leave your hot takes in the comment section below so I can argue with you, because I found that kind of fun. And yeah, if you was watching an 11-minute video of mine, you can't take 1 second to hit a subscribe button, bro. Like, what are you doing with your life? Bye.